Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are across the Europe. Today, we have scheduled the next meeting of the project called Innovation Networks for Active and Healthy Aging. And this project is about how to scale up innovative solutions in active and healthy aging market, the silver economy market. We started in January this year, and the duration of the project is 2 years. So I hope that by the end of this project, we will have the answers to the questions how to scale up innovative solutions in active and healthy aging market. Today, we are going to talk about the scale-up model for elderly people, innovative solutions for elderly people, and how to involve stakeholders in this process. We are extremely lucky to have a presentation from Veli Stroman from Empirica, and she's extremely experienced and she has very valuable knowledge about different scale-up models in different areas of healthcare, starting from innovation or scale-up models or innovation in different parts of the world. And also specifically, she has studied innovation in active and healthy aging markets. So the idea or the plan today is to listen to Veli's presentation. You can also ask questions directly from Veli if you drop your question to this chat box in Zoom. And after Veli's presentation, you will be divided into 3 different breakout rooms to discuss specific questions. And I will tell you later who are the moderators of the breakout rooms and what are the questions. So let's let's have Veli's presentation first, and then we can discuss all the topics that we have in our minds regarding the scale-up model for active and healthy aging. So Veli, please, the stage is yours, or the screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. There is some echo in the... Do you have an idea to get rid of the echo? It wasn't there when we did the test. Good, I will try again. Thanks very much for the invitation today and for the introduction. I will be presenting based on many years of experience in digital health, starting from very large-scale pilots, for instance, as you can see here on integrated care, where joint development piloting of quite complex digital health and care services have been performed, starting with analysis, elaboration of user needs, requirements, use cases, including also evaluation, exploitation support, impact assessment, and coming up with common guidelines for how to implement and scale up integrated care. Then also various procurement activities where we have supported procurement of digital health innovation, digital solutions for active and healthy aging, dissemination, promotion, and wider scale up in studies and projects like IN-4-AHA, IN-4-AHA, Digital Health Europe, and I will be talking a lot about Digital Health Europe today, but also some studies on e-health, digital health policies, strategies, procurement policies, etc. I just wanted to have a couple of those presented to you, but there are many more also in the research and innovation area. So this is a figure that you have seen many times already, the European scaling up strategy used in the European Innovation Partnership on Active and Healthy Aging, which quite well is aligned with the WHO strategy for scaling up of innovation. And you can see here the 5 steps from building a database on good practices, classification of good practices for application, but also facilitating partnership for scaling up and implementation. Today, I will be focusing more, primarily on step 4 and 5, the how of the scaling up. But our experience have shown that there is, as of today, still no comprehensive catalog of good digital health and care practices, despite many very valuable attempts like the IN-4-AHA repositories, our own repository in the Digital Health Europe project, updates of the CORDIS database, which has now very valuable new functionalities and practices, examples can be searched much better than before. And because of this, there is still a risk of reinventing the wheel. There are no clearly documented unmet needs of health and care providers from the demand side that can be linked to possible practices and solutions from the supply side. Not all results are suitable for or worth replicating elsewhere in Europe. So some basic criteria like the maturity level need to be considered, and existing results do not always require huge budgets in order to be replicated elsewhere. So the generated knowledge and know-how can be shared in a more efficient manner, even with smaller budgets. And this is what I will be talking about today, based on experience from the IN-4-AHA study, for instance, scaling innovation in active and healthy aging. We analyzed their various barriers which were mentioned by experienced users, implementers in this field, and most prominently organizational structures related barriers featured, as well as lack of interdisciplinary communication and cooperation, lack of systems integration, etc. And we came up with even more success factors for scaling up innovation. And you can see here the order of ranking of those success factors. But I will not go into all these details because I guess many of those are very well known, so I don't want to repeat all of those. In addition to the IN-4-AHA study, in IN-4-AHA, based on our work on the further development and updates of the blueprint for digital transformation of healthcare for the aging society, we developed, as you can see here, the so-called personas, the blueprint personas, to illustrate that there is a need for push for more demand-driven solutions to ensure person-centered care and to enable specific needs of older people to be better reflected in the solutions design. we wanted to show that there is a risk for overloading all the people by the use of too many different solutions, apps, and we called for action. We worked together with industry representatives, requesting from them, can industry develop solutions that are tailored to the personas and address their needs in a more holistic way? On this diagram, you see not only all the people, so we wanted to produce a more comprehensive picture of different representatives of populations, from children and young adults up to persons aged 80 plus, from generally well being good health through many chronic conditions, social care needs, and up to very complex needs. And based on that, we developed also scenarios to illustrate the interactions with various health and care actors, and came up with quite complex diagrams trying to simplify the representation of those interactions and again issue calls for action to the supply side, to industry, to come up with better and more tailored solutions. To continue with the still running Digital Health Europe support action, which is providing support to communities and to the European Commission to implement activities related to the 3 priorities of the communication of the Commission on digital transformation of health and care. You can see here the consortium representatives. We just applied for amendment. Amendment was already accepted. The project will run until end of September this year to allow for the completion of the twinning activities. And as you can see on this diagram, the project is quite complex, but today I want to focus on what is in the middle, the twinning actions, because they aim particularly at scaling up innovative solutions. And innovative practices or solutions do refer to many things, not only IT solutions, product services, but also organizational processes, workflow, methodologies, strategies, and even business models where a good practice is transferred from one originator to one or many adopters. And the time frame is usually up to 1 year. There can be more adopters. And we did have calls for twinnings, and we do have, with the awarded twinnings, we have contracts. They have agreed deliverables, activities, and many are now in the process of final reporting of the results. Altogether 24 twinnings from 21 countries with 68 adopters. Some focus on more simpler knowledge exchange, others on partial adoption, and 10 out of those focus on full adoption of the solution. Just one example here, Rehab Lab for All, which is about 3D printing of assistive devices in collaboration with the patients and healthcare professionals. I show this example because they have applied twice for receiving funding for twinning. And only within the Digital Health Europe twinning calls, and now they are progressing from Rehab Lab for All to Rehab Lab for EU towards an EU community, and also promising the provision of services like training and others also after the twinning period. So this is one of the success stories. Based on this experience, we are recommending to the European Commission to continue supporting twinning programs and even calling for much richer twinning programs. With strategic level planning, we increased budgets, considering calls with multiple cut-offs, or setting up as well a network of twinning partners to share knowledge, considering also a regular coaching and mentoring service, from support to work plan, business plan development, up to capacity building, guidance on key building blocks, such as interoperability, procurement, integration of services, etc. And the twinnings themselves are contributing to what we call the DHE, Digital Health Europe Knowledge Tree, which is now in progress of being finalized. This is a kind of collective repository bringing knowledge together, not only from the twinnings. We are issuing an open call for the so-called building blocks to contribute to the categories you can see on this tree, from strategic alignments, good strategies, through funding support, organizational governance, the digital service capabilities, evaluation, etc. So behind those categories, there are building blocks, which can be policy documents, guidelines, descriptions of tools, the tools themselves, other documented practices and experience to support various aspects of implementing and scaling up digital health and care solutions. So this has the ambition to be a repository of such useful, reusable resources. And we are very pleased to invite you to contribute to this knowledge tree. This was, in a nutshell, just an overview of activities to support scaling up efforts. Thank you very much. And please do visit our website for more information or contact us directly. We will be pleased to answer questions.
Really, thank you. Thank you for this presentation. And we have few comments in our chat box as well. And one is to Veli that yesterday in HIMSS they were presented a one-shop or one-click patient summary, which was real patient summary, as I understand, like really in action. And however, what a viewer can see on screen reminded me a lot of the personas done by the European Innovation Partnership on Active and Healthy Aging Blueprint. So very easy to absorb info on a single screen, aided by AI. So I think it's a kind of positive comment that it's already usable. And also there are some comments or about the video twinning. Virtual is a good way to move even further. We should include actual input from the patients and citizens as digital technology experts. We all agree on this. But I have a question. If we go back to your to this beginning of your presentation, then there was a long list of barriers, and you also said yourself that these barriers are very well known. And actually, we didn't find out this yesterday that these are the barriers. And my question is, can we do something differently to move on or to break those barriers? Like us because I'm representing also Connected Health Cluster, which is a ecosystem of small and bigger IT companies who would love to bring those innovative solutions to the market. But can we do something differently? Just to have at least to have shorter list of barriers in the future. I know if you answer the question, the problem is solved, but I'm interested to hear your opinion about this.
Right. First of all, I don't know whether you can see this slide again, but I wanted to point out that there is a larger list of success factors, not only identified, but really working ones. So the list of barriers is still there. These are the very well-known barriers. Once again, but still we are all jointly working on those. There are many efforts addressing different barriers out of those. I'm not so sure what do you mean by who can be doing something. We all can do something.
Like if you talk about industry, that who is bringing these solutions to the market or developing those solutions, what can we do to accelerate this process or bring down some barriers?
Accelerating this process. Now, what many initiatives are doing is bringing industry representatives together to listen to you and your problems and your barriers as well. What you can do, working even more closely together with the patients and with the health professionals representatives in a more interactive way. Quite often, only more higher level representatives of patients are being listened to by funders. So let's ask funders to listen to normal patients as well. I am aware that many industry companies are working with the patients, not only with self-help groups, but with some real patients as well. But this will never be enough. There is a need to do that at many different levels, local levels, and strengthen their voice throughout society, and notably also funding agencies and regulatory agencies as well. So this doesn't answer your question sufficiently. Industry should be paying more attention to integrating their products into other and even too old and obsolete systems of health professionals and carers. There will never be enough and sufficiently successful work on interoperability, although we all don't like the term interoperability. No one was able to invent a better one. It is about different levels of integration and working together with other systems, but also at organizational level, at semantic level. So it's a complex animal, but there is really a need for better integrability of products into existing processes and making life easier for everyone, for all stakeholders.
Thank you. Actually, you did answer part of my question quite well, because it shows that we are on the right track with our project, because we also, with this project, we are trying to include more end users to the process, but we are also working on topics like data exchange framework. So just to bring all the different approaches together and to really see what we can do to improve this part of the scale-up model or path as well. But thank you, Veli. Yeah, thank you, Veli, for your presentation. But now we have 3 breakout rooms for you who are listening to this workshop. The first breakout room is moderated by Claudio from University of Porto. And then the question is, how can we achieve sustainable engagement with and between stakeholders? Just the topic that Veli mentioned. The second breakout room will be moderated by Diego from Cluster Saude de Galicia from Spain. And again, Veli mentioned that we need to include end users and we need to test in real life environment those innovative solutions. So the topic of the second room is living labs as research spaces, co-design and validation of innovation. Are we missing something? And the third breakout room is about how to overcome the funding gap in the active and healthy aging market. And the moderator of this breakout room is Alenka from Slovenian Innovation Hub. So again, something that Veli mentioned as one of the barriers, this will be the topic of the discussion of the third breakout room. So you will be decided between this or divided between these 3 breakout rooms. You have time, how much time we have? 20 minutes, 30 minutes to discuss this topic within your breakout room. And then after we come back, I'll ask the leader of, or whoever you choose to be the leader of this breakout room, to present the outcome of the breakout rooms discussions. And then we have a bit more time to ask questions and hopefully also to answer to these questions. So now, shortly, you will be divided into the breakout rooms, and see you soon in each different rooms. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. So we are back in one room. At least most of us, I can see that we are back, so welcome. And now I would love to ask each representative from breakout rooms to give a short overview, what you discussed and what were the main points or takeaways from this discussion. Of course, all these breakout rooms were also recorded, so we will go through these recordings and pick up all the small details as well. But can we start from Claudia from breakout room 1?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit fresh, so I'm going to be looking at the notes and trying to jungle because we just finished. One of the things that we talk about is that regarding the different types of stakeholders that we are not covering right now, or that we are not covering so well, there seems to be a definite problem with return on investment issues for these businesses. So it's very hard to guarantee cross-engagement when they're not seeing a justification to engage with these networks. And we're talking about investors, about companies, about even business environment enablers. We also discussed that there is possibly a need to create discrete income generating activities that can address these areas, that can address these stakeholders. And this is food for thought for us at IN-4-AHA and for other networks that may be trying to do things on this level. The other idea here is that trying to see how, if the business side of it and if the business needs of these institutions are not incentive enough to bring themselves into these networks, then how can we compensate for them, either through projects, either to getting their fees or their participation kind of sustained throughout the projects or throughout other types of reimbursement or funding schemes. We want them to progress their business objectives, but if the incentive is not there, then maybe we need to tackle the cost. So these are two interesting takeaways from it. The other thing that's very interesting is that enterprises, and this is something that we discussed, they want to have access to citizens, they want to have access to service opportunities, for example, and we need to start giving the stakeholders a concrete advantage. So we need to have a value proposition ready for stakeholders so that they can join these networks knowing full well what to expect and what their benefits will be. The other thing that we talked about as well was also regarding these networks, that while we want to avoid the silos approach, we want to avoid them to be, we want them to collaborate with different types of stakeholders. We also need to understand that there's a trade-off here between collaborating on different types of stakeholders, bringing them together, but also the value, the concrete value they're going to get from it. We need to find avenues for these silos to give them value, but at the same time, for these silos to be broken and for them to collaborate across stakeholder types, so to speak. Lastly, we talked a bit more about the good practices sharing, and effectively that doesn't seem to be so much of a problem for the collection of good practices and the sharing of it. We have a few problems with platforms right now, but I think those are very contextual problems. They can be easily shared. The problem is with application, and we talk about how can we put these good practices into effect. Twinning schemes are important, but twinning schemes take effort, and we need to invest more on these types of very specific cross-border collaboration and cross-border innovation schemes. Another thing that was just to cap it off is that in terms of good practices, we need to find contexts and topics that are relatively common. Otherwise, we're going to be always impeded by different contexts in terms of socioeconomics, in terms of healthcare systems and how they're organized, and they will be very hard to translate. So for example, compliance could be one of these good topics for good practices to be shared. And another one would be, of course, how can we transition and how can we approach technology to users? So these were, for example, two other topics that were lifted and that can have great potential for good practices. So I think as much of a sum up as I can do, well, just finishing up the conversation, I think this is kind of it. Those were kind of the three main topics.
Okay, thank you, Claudio. And now, Diego, outcomes from your breakout room.
Yeah. Discussing about how the living labs can bring innovation to the projects and help them to scale worldwide. So after a great discussion, we were agreeing that the main point is that we need to speak in the language of the people in every region and speak, for example, with a vocabulary that help them to understand the product. But the key point is that it offers an opportunity to create a dialogue between the citizens, the policymakers, the companies, and all the stakeholders. And that situation, when you bring a new product and test it in a living lab, is that you can not only make a better thing, you can destroy the thing you were trying to test and create a better thing. It's an environment when you can bring real innovation to the product testing worldwide. And how can it help to scale companies, projects, and so on? It's because you can do it because you can copy and spread. You can test very cheap and market anywhere and extract the main concepts and get the problems the users found and solve the problem to all of the users that are using the product. Let me check. they also mentioned the thing that is a check. It's a check system when you can find the problems and solve them a lot of time before the problem or the solution goes to the world or to the market. And I think if I don't miss anything, that was the main key points of our workshop.
Thank you, thank you. And Alenka?
We had a very vivid discussion, mainly about, I mean, the most of discussion was taking place about that societal impact of innovation is not evaluated, if I say quote. In Europe, we have small and medium-sized companies, enterprises, not like big companies in America. And everybody is looking at how much innovation costs and what is the money coming out. And the impact, long-term impact of the innovation is not evaluated and appreciated. So we could help working on that. When we talk about weaknesses of service providers, we are discussing, we are again stumbling against the processes of approval. We had a case when there is, let's say, a needle which is interacting with human body, but as soon as the software is part of the process for every improvement of change in the software, all the processes has to be done again, or all the approvals have to be done again. So these are the big obstacles. So we should try to look in this, because and also the different regulations in different countries. If there is a good innovative solution, it has to go through all the procedures in different procedures in different countries. So it takes time, it takes money, and for small companies, it is hard to afford that. The best suggestion, I think, was done by Anupama, that if the product is good, if the government needs to use it, and it has to kind of vouch for it. We should help with the question if end users would be willing to finance the development of some product. The question is, the answer would be yes, but there should be some kind of trust built, of course. They should know that this product is good, had to be certified and warranted by a trusted body. And also there should be, at the beginning, kind of a shared risk. What would be needed would be kind of a seed funding, so that the scientists and the users would work together and start building trust, and then we should have some kind of trusted body. Again, I'm repeating this to tell the people this is good for you, you will benefit. In that case, if such a system is built, then people would be willing also to co-invest in the products. More detail is in the recording, but I think it was a very positive attitude towards putting more funds into innovative solutions, which are kind of guaranteed to give you a good result.
Thank you, Alenka. Yes, yeah, positive approach is always appreciated. So I can also see that many of you dropped your opinion or questions to the chat box. And what about the speed of approval bodies in EU working on quickly changing, updating digital health management technology versus speed of tech updating? So yeah, I do agree that the question is also what we will do about it to get the EU bodies to work faster. But what we can do here in this project is to address this topic and ask the question, from relevant actors. So do we have any questions or hands up right now in this among participants? No hands up. No. Okay, then the plan is as follows. We will go through all the materials and gather all the valid points, which were like really, I already formed this short introduction of each work breakout room. I heard a lot of valid points. So, and we will start designing and putting together the initial draft of this scale-up model, or what should be changed in the scale-up model, or what should be the new approaches. But meanwhile, we do not disappear. Next, our workshop is already after 1 week, 16th of June. Yeah, please, if you have question, then please
Thank
ask.
you so much. This
Yeah.
is Anupama from
Yeah.
Austria. So when we are talking about scaling up, and this I mentioned in the previous workshop as well, if we can come up with a list of products which are already, you know, evaluated and regarded as safe and effective and ethical, then maybe it's just a brainstorming. Maybe we can give this list to people, and maybe I as a person can give €1 to a certain product which I find effective or usable or good for me, something I like, yeah? And I can choose like €1 for 10 different products. For me, it will not bother me much because I will just pay €10 in a year for 10 different products. But if we have 3 million seniors like this, then each company, each product will get then 3 million fund for that year. Could we do that? What do you think? Crowdfunding.
Yeah, crowdfunding is the word. And actually, I don't know about the other countries, but in Estonia, we do use this crowdfunding scheme for funding different solutions already. But why not to do this across Europe or in other countries as well? So this is something to think about if we are looking for new resources and innovative approaches how to finance solutions. So this could be one of the tools. And why not to ask this question also on 16th of June, because then we have investors talking about business models and innovative solutions that they are willing and ready to invest to. So I guess that it's also relevant to ask during this workshop as well. So if we don't have any other questions, then all those valid points that you also dropped into this chat box, we will pick up those as well and put together an overview of this workshop. But I guess that we have covered all the topics. We have had our fruitful discussions, and then thank you, and see you next time after 1 week already.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Next week.